with my Latin accent English. I hope you understand. Down there, you can hear me well? That's okay? That's loud enough? Okay, how many of you are really familiar with Billy Meier case? Okay. Somebody that knows little something about that? Okay. Because we are recording, I'm going to be for everybody, for the people that doesn't know too much and for the people that know a lot. And I'm going to use also some application in my cellular phone that help me to hear better, because sometimes you may be asking something and I cannot hear you very well. I have some reduction in my hearings. It's not a translator than the one that Billy used once in a while. A translator for translating other languages. It's just a simple device. Okay, we're going to be talking today about the worldwide UFO controversy. It's something that has been happening since the Pleiadians came in 1970s and probably before that. Some people are really interested in the UFO phenomenon. Some of them have seen UFOs in the sky. Some people think there's life out there somewhere in the universe, but other people don't believe anything of that. In most of the cases, UFO cases, not only in Billy Meier cases, in all of the cases, it's happening in the same pattern, that the information about UFOs is not really convincing. There is always room for people saying, no, this is not true, maybe this is not real. Everybody is saying lies about that. It doesn't exist, life in the universe doesn't exist. That's very common. And it's very common in the UFO case of Billy Meier. Billy Meier is somebody that was born in Switzerland. He's a Swiss farmer. Since he was very young, at young age, 5 years old, he started to having contact with people from outer space. For some people, that story is quite fantastic, but once you see all the evidence, you know that this is true, that we have found. What I'm going to show you here is first-hand information. It's not something that I found in internet. I am telling you all of that. It's based on my own investigations. I've been studying the Billy case Meier for more than 7 years. I've been talking with him, and I have the opportunity to talk with other people that have seen UFOs in the skies. In some cases, they are really flying UFOs. I mean, extraterrestrial flying discs, probably. In other cases, could be something else. So you have to be very skeptical about that, because everybody sees something on the sky and says, oh, these are the extraterrestrials that are trying to contact me, something like that. But it's not the truth. Okay, so you have to be very skeptical about that. So what is the UFO controversy? Pat explained it very well in the contact report 251. Billy Meier was recording all the conversation with his ET friends since he started with SFAT in 1942, later with ASKET in the 1953 to 1964, and with the Pleiadians, which is a specific group of people from outer space, since 1975. So he's been writing everything. I assume that the one that when he was very young child, he wrote it out after that, not when he was a child. Probably what he remembered, he just transcribed it somehow or write it down. So all the contact reports, and that one, the default is the one the report with the Pleiadians. This is the 251 that happened in February 3, 1995, and I will be referring mainly to this contact report and another one. Currently, there are more than 700 contact reports written. It's a lot of information. There you find information around health, about the history of the humanity, future of humanity, predictions, prophecies, everything. There is a lot of information. Probably the human race will require 500 years to understand everything that is there. You will notice as soon as you read something, later on you read it again and you find new information. It's like the information is there, but you have to take it step by step. It's too much information. Especially in this contact report, in the 251, you may find that he's talking about three things. One is the worldwide UFO controversy. He's talking with Pat, or Pata. He is also, Pata is explaining that at that time, in February, in 1995, the Pleiadians stopped or finished their mission on Earth, and they were leaving the planet. So they take everything with them, and they move away. Billy is continued in contact with Pata and in other Pleiadians. Once in a while they come to say hello, I speak with him, and he has some telepathic conversation with them once in a while. But at that time they finished their mission here. We're going to talk about that, what that mission was, what we think it was, why they lived, and why they came here in the first place. So in this contact report, Pata is explaining or talking about the worldwide UFO controversy. So what is this? That controversy has to do with the way the ETs present information to the human race, to us, because they cannot land in the middle of a Toronto place or somewhere and say, hey, we are here. Half of the humanity will be crazy right now if they did it that way. Well, you know, maybe half of the humanity right now is crazy in this crazy world anyway, but probably everybody will be crazy, you know? So they cannot do that. They cannot do that. They cannot say, hey, here we are, especially because we are not ready to accept their existence and many truths that are related to our past and our future. So it takes time. So this is a transformation process. I'm going to explain why I'm here making this presentation. It's about my personal experience. I am an engineer. I am an amateur astronomer. I have been watching the sky for more than 30 years. I was the president of an amateur astronomy association in Colombia, South America, for a couple of years. And I built telescopes, and I how to build observatories. I know all the constellations in the sky. And I have seen the sky for many times, for a long time. Not watching UFOs. This was not my primary purpose, because I want to study astronomy, and my background is more technical and more logical than some kind of mystic background. So I am very skeptical, I am very scientific in my formation as an engineer. But I saw, or I have seen UFOs at least a couple of times. Something that I cannot explain is something made by the human beings, not even by a military type of device doing the funny movements, something that I cannot explain by any other ways. And I have been also talking with people that have seen UFOs because of my hobby or the study that I've been doing in astronomy. I took some astrophysics and astronomy courses in Colombian Planetarium, an observatory, the National University, and I have some information on that. So some people came to me and say, hey, I saw something the other night, what was that? So many people is coming to me. And I have been talking with 4 people that have been talking with ETs. 4 people, one of them is Billy Meier, and another 3. Some of them from South America, another one from the United States. So what I'm talking is my conversation with these people that have a conversation with an ET. It's not something that somebody created to put in a website to gather a lot of clicks or views from many people. It's something that is a real experience from real people. So that phenomenon is real. And Billy Meier case is the contacting. If you want to learn about UFOs, you don't need anything else. Just Billy Meier case, because he's the one that has much more information than the other ones. So watching the sky, I always ask that question. Does extraterrestrial really exist? Is life out there? Most of the scientists today think life in the universe is there, somewhere, because of the probabilities. In a galaxy that is like a neighborhood that has 400 billion stars only, our galaxy, the Milky Way, there should be a lot of planets with intelligent life there. Some of them with intelligent life, others with primitive life, like us. So all the scientists today believe that there's intelligent life, or could be intelligent life right there. What they don't believe is that not all the scientists believe that they are coming here, because they know the Einstein theory that says that you cannot travel faster than the speed of light. So if somebody, for example, beyond the Pleiadian system at 400 light years away, a trip going back and forth is going to take 800 years. So it sounds crazy that somebody just jumped into space and came here for a little time. But Billy Meier case evidence show how the spaceship jumps from one place to another place in the space. We're going to look at that in one of the videos. It's here, the UFO, and then it's here. So if you jump in the space, you are not traveling. So you are not violating Einstein's law. Einstein's law said you cannot travel faster than the speed of light. Okay, I am not traveling. I just jumping in the space. Opening a door, somehow, I don't know how, but I'm here, but then I'm there. I'm not traveling the distance, or I'm not violating Einstein's laws. So that's possible, and this is why Billy Meier showed us. So is there life out there? In the past, probably 40, 30 years ago, if you ask that question, most of the people will say probably no, or probably yes. Right now, everybody knows or thinks that could be life out there. Unless you are one of those guys that think that the Earth is flat, and we live under the dome, and the little bright spots are something on this dome, and life doesn't exist out there. It's just us in this flat Earth. Like there's some people that believe that way. But most of the people, big majority, think that there is life there. Okay, how the life could grow in a planet? It has to be in a habitat zone. Is that area? Let me use the pointer that you gave it to me. So there is a habitat zone. That means that it's not too cold or too warm for having water in the liquid state. So life as us could be developed in that habitat zone. Currently, we know that there are around 3,000 planets in other stars. That has been discovered by the Kepler Space Telescope, which is like a big satellite far away from Earth, watching the sky, taking real-time information for a big area of the space, and looking for variation in the brightness of the stars. What happens if a star system has some planets that surround the planet and moving around that, and if that system, the plane of the orbital movement is, you see it from the edge, from here, from the space telescope, from that one. Once in a while, one of those planets crosses in front of the star. So there is a small reduction of the light from the star. So if the measuring device shows that the brightness of the star is this way, suddenly it goes down and then goes up again because cross in front of that. But that could be possible only on the small stars. The small stars like red dwarf. Red dwarf stars are stars that are smaller than our sun, probably the size of Jupiter, a little bit bigger, but it's a star and it's red color because it's not too hot, doesn't have too much mass, so it doesn't produce too much energy. Okay, so the red dwarf stars has a very interesting characteristic is that because the star is very small, the solar system is also small. So the planets are not like the solar system that is far away, like the Earth that takes 1 year and do one circle around the sun. In these small stars, the planets makes one loop in probably a few hours or a few days. So the probability to see that eclipse or that occultation, or they call it, that planet going in front of the star, is higher in that kind of star. So the information that we have about 3,000 planets is only in small stars, not a big one. The probability to have a solar system like ours, to see that transit of the planet in front of the stellar disk, is very low in stars like the sun and bigger stars. That means somebody out there is looking toward the sun with a similar telescope like this one, probably he will notice anything. No planets in the solar system. The sun has no planet because he cannot see it. Because it takes a lot of time until one planet crosses. So with that information, currently astronomers are doing some statistics calculation, and they know that only in our Milky Way we can have around 1 or 2 billion planets based on that. And with that amount of planets, most of them should have, or some of them will be in the habitable zone, and some of them could have life. So, of course, there's life out there. It's very difficult to say no right now. If somebody say no, it could be considered somebody that's crazy. Hey, what are you saying? It's like if I am in Toronto, I get in my apartment, I close my window, I close the curtains, and I don't want to see anybody else, and I say I am the only living creature in this city. I am the only inhabitant in Toronto City. It's as crazy as that. We cannot say that, okay? Probably once in a while we open the window and we see a dog walking around and we say, oh, it is, they're very scared. Okay. Okay, so do ET exist? They are here? Why do you think this is happening? Why most of the people, when they say ET, they think that it's somebody like this, not like her? If you ask somebody come to you and say, hey, the other day I saw in a public park an extraterrestrial, most of the people will think was that. No, a normal guy like you and like me. So, but what I have found talking with Billy Meier and the other 3 cases, the people they have seen are humans, like us. They are very similar to us. Probably are small differences, but they are humans. Why there are a lot of humans out there? Why we are humans too? So people say, no, it's a very strange coincidence that ETs are like us. Why? It's very clear, because they have been here before, and the human race is the combination of a lot of space travelers coming here, back and forth. Some of the people developed here, but some others were travelers from outer space, staying here and making colonies and forgetting about the past, living here and evolving in this planet. So that we are connected with them. So our genes has some commodity or some commonality with their extraterrestrial genes. But they are more advanced than us. They are probably 3,000, 5,000, many thousand years ahead of us. So who are they? In Billy Meier's case, you see, one of them is Sfat. That was his first contact. Sfat has already passed away. Sfat was the father of Pata, and Pata is the father of Saint Jacinth. So this is a family. And Asket, she is not Pleiadian, she is not of the same group, but she is somehow related with the Pleiadian. The Pleiadian, that name comes from the star system where they come from. It's farther away from the Pleiadian system. I think it's 80 light years away from the Pleiadian system. It's not in the Pleiades itself. And we try to think always in the space like a three-dimensional space. Somebody says, I come from Alpha Centauri, so I know, well, Alpha Centauri is a star system that is there. Okay, I know where you are coming. But we have to think that probably they are talking in 4 dimensions, not in 3 dimensions. And the 4th dimension is the time. It's not only the location in the space, but also the time. I can travel to the Pleiades. I can go there right now, but I can travel to the Pleiades if I am a space traveler. I can travel in 1 million years ahead or 1 million years before. If I move in time and space, I can go not only to a location, also to a specific point in time. Okay? So they're coming from different places. Probably the Pleiadians are in a different time space configuration. That could be probably in the future, in the past. It doesn't matter. In the universe, you have 4 coordinates. Maybe there's more than that dimension, but that's the only one that we can understand. Quetzal is another Pleiadian, and Asket is from the Dal universe. She is a very wise woman. Probably she is like a very lovely white being inside of the body of a woman. She is a beautiful girl. She was with Billy for a long time. And if you want to study more about her, there's an interesting story related with Paul Chang. who was a representative of Cambodia in the United Nations. And there is a lot of photographies that Billy took in an ashram when he was in India, and some people said that only that information is the proof that Billy Meier case is real, because it's impossible that could fake photographs in the 1960s. It's impossible that he has some witnesses that saw the UFOs. News reporter that make an article in a daily magazine or newspaper. So it's impossible that he's faking all of that. So only that shows that that case is real. Okay, so it is right there, yes. But why they were here? So in that contact report, in the 251, Pat and Billy are talking about not only the worldwide UFO controversy, also that they are packing everything and going away from Earth. They finished their mission here. Why they finished that mission, or why they were here at the first place? Okay. We have to understand that ETs normally do not interfere with the development of people in planets like this one. They don't want to come here and interfere with our development. It has to do with the cause and effect. The cause and effect says that you will learn from the consequences you are causing. If they interfere here, they take us away our opportunity to learn from our mistakes. So they cannot come here to establish peace on earth. They not coming here to make wars on earth. They only here because they want to give spiritual teachings for our development. You may find that UFO in Billy Meier case is the opening door, but what is really important in the Billy Meier case are the spiritual teachings. Is what telling us who we are and how could be better human beings. So why they were here? If there is some kind of policy of no interference, like the Prime Directory in the Star Trek. Are you familiar with that, the Prime Directory in Star Trek? Did you watch Star Trek movies? Prime Directory is you cannot interfere with civilization that in a lower advanced level than us. So there's some kind of Prime Directory that cannot interfere because we have to learn from our own mistakes. So why they were here? Because there was an ET group from the Pleiadian system that established here a long time ago, and they stayed here. Somehow they were isolated, and they were living in the Giza pyramids. I'm not going to talk more in detail about that. You can read about the Giza intelligence in the Billy Meier contact notes, and what they were doing when they left. At this point of time, they were no longer here on Earth. So what happened is that the future events of the Earth that has happening from 1995 is something that we need to live for ourselves. We have to be responsible for everything that is happening now. So it's up to us to make this planet a better place to live, or we can have also the choice to destroy this planet. It's our choice. Probably destroying the planet is going to be very terrible. Probably some of us that are here have been living in the past very long ago in another planet that we destroyed, and we are having another opportunity to do it fine this time. I don't know. Anyway, so they were here because there was ETs, Pleiadian people, human beings from the Pleiadian system that were interfering with the human race. They caused a lot of problems. So the Pleiadian itself feels responsible for that. So they came here to solve or reduce the impact of what they caused. As soon as they did it, they get away. They still keep in contact with Billy. Once in a while they visit him, but they are no longer here. In general, the ETs are not the guys that are coming here and talk with somebody. So they do it just to probably wake up the conscience of some people, just do some quick appearance in public and then go away. But they will not interfere. They are very smart, you know, they should be very intelligent. It's not enough to not get in contact with us at this point because we are too violent and they are very intelligent. So they say, oh no, I better don't go there. So that's why they should say. Okay, what happened in Billy Meier case, and it's happening in most of the UFO cases, especially in Billy Meier case, is that there is a lot of evidence that show it's real, but there are also evidence that show it is not real. You see, there is a lot of skeptics. You go in internet and you find a lot of skeptics talking or saying that Billy Meier case is not real. And so you wonder if it's real or fake, but your first reaction, if you see it, if some of you have seen Billy Meier case for the first time, you say, no, this is not real. This is something funny. This is all fabricated. For example, the energy chips. This was a special group of beings that came to visit Billy at his place. They are energetic beings, little ones, half energy, half matter, that they came together, they just joined together, and they, with their conscious, they create a spaceship that is made of energy, and they travel in space-time. It sounds crazy, right? You say, what? What? People that is half energy, and they join together, and they create a spaceship with their consciousness, and they travel everywhere. That was the space beings that came in these energy chips. Fatah explained, Billy Meier, that the spaceships from ETs are three types. The first type are the metallic one, is technology, chips, technology, computer, so it's metallic, like this that you know, like the Pleiadian one. There is also the energy chips that is made of energy, so their chips are energy that move in space, and there's a third group that is from biological spaceship. So people that are very advanced and they know a lot about biology, they create some kind of trees and plants and everything, and they construct a spaceship made of that. It's very interesting to find somebody in Mexico that said that he was in contact with ETs, and he said that the spaceship looked like a tree. It has a lot of trees inside, so it's quite interesting and quite strange. So it's a confirmation of what Fatah says. So in this case, it was an energy. But is real or not? Some people say it's a double exposure. Double exposure is that I take my camera and I take a picture of a lamp or something very bright, and in the same negative, I take a picture. So for example, I can do the ghost effect. I can a picture of you, click, and then put it in the same negative, and I take a picture of Michael, and I see both of you in the same place, but probably you will be transparent because your image will be merged with the image in the background. So it's a very easy, simple effect that we can do with a camera, but not with Billy Meier camera, because it was a very simple one. But some people say he did it, and the reason of that is that the size or the extremes or the borders of those spaceships are very similar to lamps or street lights that he has at his property. Oh, you see, very similar. That one is very similar to these street lights. Oh, what a coincidence. So people say, oh, this is a double exposure. Yeah, it is. Or for example, the Pendulum UFO. Once you see it, you see a little model hanging from a cord. Somebody is putting here. So some people imagine Billy Meier with a fishing rod, just moving that little flying object, a little model, probably this size, and he was moving back and forth. So this is what many people believe at the first sight. Oh, this is all fake. This is somebody moving that. Or the Wedding Cake UFO, I call it the spheres UFO, is made with a lot of spheres that look like a Christmas tree balls putting on the top of a garbage can lid or food containers cover that Billy Meier himself has it in the St. Joseph Silver Star Center. He has it there. You go there and you find it. Billy Meier doesn't say, take away all of that. He keep it there and put it in a place that you see it. It's very curious, but he has it. And are very similar to the base of the Wedding Cake UFO. So some people say, no, that's something that Billy Meier fabricated, took pictures of that. And also, there's a lot of some skeptics that have made models of that using the cover of the trash can lids, put some Christmas balls, and do an object that is very, very, very similar to this one. So they say, if I can do it, Billy Meier do it. But think about something. I can make a model of the Concorde, you know the Concorde airplane? Is everybody familiar with the Concorde airplane? The one that was built in France. So I can make a model of that, put it on the sky with a cord and take a picture of that. It looks like the Concorde, right? And I put it with some buildings in the background and take a picture of that. It looks like the Concorde flying in a city. Does it mean that the Concorde didn't exist? So making a model, taking a picture of that is not a proof that Billy Meier did the same. So it's not it's not real, okay? But many people at first sight they say, okay, this is not real, so Billy Meier could do the same. Any questions so far?
Who gives them the rights?
The director, the prime director.
Who tells them? Who tells the player not to come?
Who tells the Pleiadians?
Or not to interfere?
Oh. Okay, any of the space being, they should not intervene here. Okay? So you are wondering who tells them not to intervene? Is that your question?
Yes, who says?
It's a universal law. There is a space confederation. We conform, but a lot of it is from different places in our neighborhood, and they have that law. That law has to do with the cause and effect. I cannot intervene. Let's suppose you have a child, okay? And your child lives in his apartment, and he's responsible for his life. But if you intervene all the time, if you make the child not get in troubles, he will never learn from that. You will see, we are in a transition that we are moving from one state to another state. The state that we are being for several centuries is that we want somebody to support us and help us. And that's somehow related to having somebody that help me or guide me to go or to find what is the right way to go. But we are moving another stage of the humanity that we need to learn by ourselves. So we have to be responsible to where we are going to go. So if they are intervening here, they are not helping us to be responsible of our own destiny. Another question.
So that means that we're at that state where we're moving to higher consciousness on the planet?
Yeah, it will be on a state where we'll be in contact with him, yes. That's going to happen probably in 800 years, or probably before. Probably we are getting closer to that. I mean, once we are ready to accept the existence of people out there and that we are responsible for our own destiny, they could come here. And if we are not very aggressive. Right now we are living a humanity that is very scared about everything. In the future we're going to call this time of the human evolution the terror age. Because we are, not because of the terrorism, because that we are terrified or scared about everything. We are scared about somebody else in another place, somebody throwing me atomic bombs, some people in the street doing funny things, somebody with a gun that's going to kill me. So that humanity is managed and conducted by fear. Because once you have somebody that is feel fierce, that person is vulnerable and you can sell many things and you can take advantage of that person. So this is the age of terror. We're going to be moving into another age where we are not feeling fear or anything because we recognize ourselves as a spirit that never died. So what's going to happen to me? Okay, it's a human experience. Something could happen here right now. But later on, I could be evolving in another state. So why I should be scared about something? So we'll be moving there. Okay. So because of all that, or seeing that information, or all about Billy Meier information that at the first sight looks that is not real, some people reach a simplistic conclusion. If it looks fake, it must be fake. It doesn't look real, so it's not real. I don't know, but I can go out in the top of the mountain, I can see the earth is flat. I can see the ocean. The earth is flat. If the earth looks flat, it must be flat. Right? That could be the same kind of conclusion. So we need to look farther than what the first information shows. We have to be more skeptical. We have to be more scientific. We have to investigate more and extract more information. Another common statement is too good to be true. Billy Meier is a case that is too good to be true. Okay, we have found that it's not only too good, it's very good, and it's also true. After investigating that, you will notice that it's very good and it's true. But that's a simplistic conclusion, and that's a very normal one. So we are in a skeptic barrier, moving from the World 1 to the World 2. The World 1 is the world as we know it. For some people, the world is the place they live. My world is Toronto. I live in Toronto, in downtown, or in this area, and this is my world. Sometimes I go outside and I say, oh, there are trees and mountains. Mountains, I don't see mountains here. There are mountains there, yeah, British Columbia. So my world expands, so it's different. So this is the world that we live, as you know it. But we need to know there's another world. And we recognize that we are living in a universe that is full with life, and we are not wondering if the universe has life. We are recognizing the universe itself is a living organism. There's intelligence, and it's a living organism. So the whole universe is a living organism, and the Earth is another living organism. So, and there's a lot of friends out there. Up there, those friends are ETs, people that are there, but do not interfere with us. Let us to learn from our own mistakes, and we are evolving in this planet. And one day we'll be part of interplanetary society. So we'll be going to for a weekend to visit a friend in Pleiadian system or whatever. I don't know. That would be nice, right? Yeah, I know. Okay, but this looks like a fantasy world, right? This looks like the real world. But there's something in the middle that tries to move that way. Billy Meier case tried to just move from here to here, to recognize who we really are, to recognize what was our past, what could be our future. Billy Meier talked about prophecies, predictions. What he's saying is to help the world to be a better place to live. But there's something in the middle that don't let us see beyond. It's called the skeptic barrier. The skeptic barrier is that barrier that all the skeptics put there. They say, oh, no, don't believe that Billy Meier case. Oh, that's not true. Don't look at that. This is not real. Don't look at that. So the skeptic barrier is maintained by the skeptics every day. You go to internet and you find a lot of people saying, oh, it's not true, and this is the evidence. But something that people do not really realize is that the skeptic barrier was constructed by the ET themselves. They did it. They created it. The skeptic barrier is the worldwide UFO controversy. They make it because it's going to help us in our development. It's necessary. What? You are telling me that we cannot know so much about the ETs because the ETs themselves put a barrier there that don't let us see it? That's what I have learned. Yes, it is true. And it has a very good purpose behind that. We're going to be talking about that. So, Pata is talking about the worldwide UFO controversy. And you see part of the same contact report, the 251. But he's also needed that he's so current with the desired intended outcome. Is everything planned before Billy Meier even born? They planned the exact moment, the perfect moment that they were coming here in the 70s and make all the demonstration and taking pictures. You know, Billy Meier was not authorized to take some pictures. There's one anecdote, I guess, or something happened once that he took some pictures and Sebiase, that was close, noticed that he did it without an authorization. And he tried to destroy his camera. I don't know how she did it, she sent a beam or electronic impulse or whatever, but she was trying to destroy the film and everything that was there because he was not authorized. He has to put the camera in some position, I have to leave it there, and the demonstration, all the photographs was set on purpose. Okay? Everything was planned from the beginning, from a long time ago. So it's happening the desired result. And also is having additional now urgent and needed results in the future. The future is now. When I think we recognize that they did it and the purpose of that. That's the main message of that. They did it, but there is a purpose that we need to recognize why they did it. I am creating some expectation here, you know? Okay, let's talk about the energy chip, the Pendulum UFO, and the Wedding Cake UFO. This is based on the investigation that I've been doing with Chris Locke. Chris Locke is somebody from the UK that is living in Japan. He teaches in a university in Osaka. He's married, as I understand, he's married a Japanese woman. And he's teaching in a university. And we've been doing some recent studies, and we are writing some books to publish. Okay? So that's Chris Locke. So he's a very good friend of mine that I haven't seen yet. I mean, just through internet, not even Skype, but he's a very good friend of mine. Okay? Quite interesting. So we have been doing investigation about the energy chips and other piece of evidence. Well, this is the camera that Billy Meier used for the energy chips. This is an Olympus 35. Let me see the specifications of the camera. The Olympus 35 ECR camera. Some people think that Billy Meier was some kind of photographer because he took very good photographs. No, he's like a normal tourist that has a device and press a button and it's okay. It's more complicated to use an iPhone just to take a picture. This one was more simple. Just point and click. It has a visor, something that he looked behind that, and she just put on the frame and they click. That's it. It's automatically set the exposure and the speed of the exposure and the, how you call it? The aperture of the diaphragm. So he have no way to play with that. He cannot do also, for example, double exposure. For double exposure, you need a more sophisticated camera. My brother had a Nikon camera, but last time, and has a little button that I press it, and I can roll it, the roll film, without rolling it, so I can make a double exposure. This one is not. This one is, to make a double exposure, he has to release the button that is below, and roll it back a little bit, and just precise movement to set the frame where he wants to have it. It's so complicated, and if you put a tripod on it, you cannot press the button. So it's really complicated. Billy Meier used it because it's very easy for him. You may see a documentary made by Japanese reporters about Billy Meier case, and he showed that camera, and he showed why he selected. Because it's very simple to use with one hand. Billy Meier has only one arm, because he has to use it with only one hand. So with one hand, he rolled the roll, he moved the roll, and he pressed the button, and that's it. So all the picture that you see is with that type of camera. With this one, another one he had later on. So it's very difficult to do double exposure. So to doing double exposure is complicated. Secondly, this is one of the energy chips. Remember, this is, according to Billy, that energy chip are beings from Andromeda system, little ones that are half energy and half matter, that came here. Billy tried to establish contact with them, saying, hello, how are you? Telepathic contact, talking with them, but he couldn't. These are beings that are very advanced, so they do not speak our language, not even our telepathic language. So how did they communicate with Billy? they were doing what Billy do, they were doing the same. For example, Billy used a lantern, so they were imitating Billy's lantern. There was a car coming from far away on the mountains, and they were imitating the car. They were imitating the street lights in Billy property. So every light of sort that they saw, they were imitating. Like for example, I go and I see a monkey say, who? And I go there and I do the same, who. So feel comfortable because I am imitating this. So that's what they did. They tried to imitate all the lights around Billy. Doing some image processing, increasing the brightness, we found this in this photograph. This is a little line that looks like it's been illuminated by the energy chip itself. We found there are some vertical beams of light from that energy chip that are illuminating something that looks like an electric cord or something that was below. Okay? Okay, this is what I found. But the skeptic side says Billy used the street light and he just moved the camera, and the little line that you see is some detail in the pole of the street light that is very bright, so it creates that line. So what you see here is that little thing moving. Okay, but why is very straight? Oh, of course, Billy used a tripod and rotate the camera and did the double exposure. It sounds logical, right? But why 25 vertical beams? We have come around 25 vertical beams here. Okay, maybe Billy took 25 photographs. So what we have to do is put in the tripod, take a picture, put it out of the tripod, press a button, release a little piece, the roll, move the roll, put it back, take the other picture, and do it that 25 times. It's so complicated, so it cannot be a straight line. Or some other people could say, no, he just moved the camera, and because this light probably is not a continuous light, probably it's a stroboscopic light, because it's used with alternate electricity, so it's just flash of lights, but you don't notice, but as soon as you move it, you notice it's not continuous. Okay, sounds logical. You can find every time any kind of arguments from both sides. But also has to be shifted because it's not horizontal, it's shifted 3 degrees to the left. Okay, so very simple. Really put the tripod, and it was not a flat area, so it's shifted somehow. Or probably one of the legs of the tripod was longer than the other one, something like this, so it moved away. Okay, but why the vertical beams here are not shifted too? If you move the camera, why the vertical beams are not shifted too? So there is a question that goes back and forth. So that's part of the skeptic barrier. Okay, you say something, they say something. You say something else, they say something else. That's very important job to be in that exchange of information, and that's very useful. Okay, so also you will notice that if you draw a line from here to here, it's not exactly parallel to that one. There's a lot of a small shipment too. Displacement. So it doesn't sound logical that this is the lamp. I don't know how to do it with that lamp, with the camera video. That's another interesting photograph. What do you think is that? Is the moon? Probably the moon, right? Nice view of the moon with some, well, something here. Okay, this is not the moon. This is another energy chips. If you look at the photograph, you see there are clouds. So this is something that is in the sky, on the sky. It's not a double exposure trick. If it's a double exposure trick, you won't see the trees. And also the date June 23. The trees here has a lot of leaves. So it's compatible to a photograph taken in summer. You notice the photographs Billy Meier took, you notice if it's in summer, spring, or winter, because of the vegetation. This one looks like in summer. And also it's toward the northwest, where I think Menara ship landed by this area, so it's toward the northwest. So some people say, very clear, he took a photo of the moon and he did a double exposure of something very bright. Okay, but June 23, there was not a full moon in the sky. No full moon. So what is this? Oh, of course Billy didn't took that photo in June 23. He's lying. It was not. It was when there was full moon in another time. But toward the northwest, in the St. Joseph Silverstone Center, the moon is never toward the northwest. You never see it there. And I did it. I checked in my application that showed me the sky in Switzerland, and I found that the moon, the only way that is toward, the farther way that is very close to the west, but not to the northwest here. This is the moon. This is a simulation, but I have to do it in December, in winter, not in summertime. Why in winter, not in summertime? You know, full moon is always opposite to the sun. In winter, the sun is to the south or to the north. Winter time, stupid. Oh my God. Okay, in winter, the sun, you see here, the sun is going to the south in winter. Okay? In winter time, the sun is toward the south, so the moon is opposite to that, it's toward the north. Like this one. It's the northern way the moon could be. But in summer, that moon should be here, more to the south, not in the northwest. So that photo itself, if it's taken toward the northwest, I'm totally sure this is not the moon. Totally sure. This is not the moon. If this is not the moon, what is it? It's not a double exposure. You see the trees. This is not a double exposure. You see the clouds. What is not the moon, or what is shining up there. Another photograph, the last one of that I'm going to show you about energy chips, is this one. It's like the moon behind, but it's not round. It's some kind of oval, ellipse, but it's not a round one. Also, by this time of the year, this day, there was not full moon in the sky. I'm not sure the direction of this photograph, but I cannot say it's toward the northwest or something. So it doesn't matter. You see that bright object that looks like the moon, the hill is very well, is cropping the bright sky behind. So this is not a double exposure. If it would be double exposure, all that area would be very bright and you cannot see the hill. So it's a bright object behind. Some skeptic says, okay, if this is a bright energy chip, why is not projecting the shadows toward the front? Because the brightness of these objects is like the brightness of the moon. Okay? If you take photos of the moon never projects shadows. If you have a straight light that is stronger. So these shadows you see here, that one pointing to the right and that one pointing to the back, tell us that there is a very bright source, electric source here, probably a street light in this area, on the left side. So the intensity of this object that is like the moon is not enough to create shadows to the front. You also notice the trees has some small leaves but not big ones, so it's comparable with the time, early spring, so it's okay, it could be around that time. And also you notice that the image itself is static, it's not moving. So why this is moving? Some skeptics could say, okay, it's moved because he took a photograph of the moon and he moved the camera. If he moved the camera, why this is not moved? The trees and all of that. Oh, very simple. He put it in a tripod, he waited until the moon moved itself because of the rotation of the Earth. The Earth is rotating, so the moon just moved. Just enough just to make that shape. But you know, to do that, if you investigate a bit more, you require an exposition of 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, the moon moved from here to here to make that shape. Billy camera has only up to 4 seconds of exposure, not 1 minute, not 2 minutes. He cannot do it. So with his camera, he cannot take that picture. So this is also an unknown object on the sky. Okay, and we can continue on and on. Okay, before moving forward, I would like to make a short break. If you want. Okay, before I move on into the other pieces of information, I forgot to mention something about the energy chips. Somebody asked me about the size or how big were they, because I've been hearing that in other places they have seen huge spaceships. Billy said that they were very big, one of them 100 meters, probably bigger than that, and others were very small. So different sizes they came, so maybe it's not the one that he saw in his place, that probably looks like 2 meters long. There were others that were 100 meters. That one we don't know. Could be something 1 kilometer far away, or could be 10 meters closer. We don't know. Okay, let's continue with the barrier. So still there's a question why the barrier is put by the ETs. Okay? Why they did it? How is this helping us in our evolution? Let's leave that for the end, okay? We will be there. Pendulum UFO, okay. In the same contact report, Pat is talking about the jerky pendulum movements. So they did it on purpose. Somebody may ask, okay, something that I don't understand. Why the ETs make fake demonstration? Probably they should not do anything of that at all. They should not do any type of demonstration because they are doing something that is fake. The answer is that they do a demonstration that has two aspects. One aspect that shows is fake, another aspect that shows is true. What we're going to see is the aspect that shows us that is true. Okay? Both aspects are very important. You may read a document, a blog written by Professor James Dirdolf. Professor James Dirdolf passed away a few years ago. I was in contact with him when I started this investigation. He's a very interesting scientist. Actually, the first investigation that I did about the Wedding Cake UFO, he was peer reviewing that investigation. As a scientist, he was checking all my statements. He was challenging me more to find something else and demonstrate it in different ways. Professor Dirdolf wrote an article calling the plausible deniable, right. It's very interesting, and at the end of his article, he talked about the semi-plausible deniable. So semi means that it's somehow deniable, but has some part that is not so bad. So they showed the information with two aspects, one that showed that is fake, and another part of the information that is real. Okay, so that they did in the pendulum UFO. Okay, what is a pendulum? Are you familiar with the pendulum clocks? Probably the old people like us know about that, but the younger ones, it's already left. The younger ones probably haven't seen a pendulum clock. Pendulum clock was made with using a pendulum. Why a pendulum? Because the movement of the pendulum is very precise. The period of the pendulum has a precise measurement of time, or make a precise measure of time, depending on the length of the pendulum. And it depends on the Earth gravity. We can use a pendulum here, and measuring the time the pendulum moves, we can know what is the Earth gravity here. If we go to Mars, and we use another pendulum that's moving slowly, we can measure the gravity there. If we go to outer space where there is no gravity, the pendulum doesn't move. Just stay quiet because the gravity is not moving. The period of the pendulum is the time that it takes starting from one side, moving to the other side, and coming back to the same side. But you can measure the period of the pendulum starting from the middle, going there, going that, and going back. So it's the time that it takes to complete one cycle. There are different types of pendulums. I'm going to show you very quickly because you're going to see it in the pendulum UFO. The planar pendulum is left and right. the watch that you know, the pendulum watch. Conical pendulum, the object is moving in circles. So the UFO is moving in circles. So you have a cord and you're moving like that. So it's moving in circles. And the spiral pendulum is exactly the same moving in circles, but you move the node of the pendulum upwards. So it's like that, but you're moving upwards. So it's creating like a spiral stairs moving up there. So these are the three types of pendulums. You're gonna see it. I have a video here, and you will see it, the pendulum movements. I'm gonna ask you to watch some details there, so you will be ready to see it. Okay, this is a tree. This is a small house. These are some electric towers. This is a piece of dust on the road, on the movie, and you will see these pieces of dust. That's very useful because you can distinguish one frame from another one, and if they're duplicated frames, you distinguish duplicated frames because the piece of dust is in these duplicated frames. So it's some kind of dust there is that is helping also to do some research. The UFO was staying there on the top of the tree, and now it's starting to move. It happened in March 18, 1975. It was called, let's move. Okay, at the beginning, the moving is just now starting. It's very quiet. It was afternoon where there was very light snow in the air, so visibility is not very good. Billy has his recording camera in a tripod in a specific position, and he's recording that. In a point of time, the movement of this UFO, like over here, like somebody's pulling on a cord and release it, and start to move left to right. But suddenly, well, this is a planar pendulum. Suddenly it stopped, like somebody's pulling, stop it, and stop a small movement in circles. That circles is around the tree. If you look at the film with some detail, you notice that the UFO goes behind the tree. So the tree and the UFO are in the same place. So it's moving in circles. This is the conical pendulum. Now I start moving left to right, planar pendulum again, like somebody is just moving that way with the fishing rod. Sometimes just move up and down. I'm not sure if you see it. Probably here, it's moving up and down. Oh, yeah. And now do a right turn. It's coming to the front, move back and forth. I'm not sure if you see something there. I did the first jump. Look at in the pot. You see it?
Yeah.
You miss it? But try you see it. There's some white. Okay, left to right. Jumping, then move to the front, not yet, going now. Sometimes. Okay, after that one, so it's coming and it's coming to the front. And look at the top of the frame. Not now, the next one. Now. You see something?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first jump. You're going to see in detail. And the second jump, you see again on the front, on the top part, some white band, very clear, this coming. Now, you see it. Okay. Then start reducing the movement, practically it's stopping, and the last part, I have another piece of the film, but this is a film continuous film, but I have it in two parts. Okay, sorry, there's some noise. At the end, it's going in the spiral pendulum, going up there. Okay, it's an object in a pendulum. Or maybe it's a spaceship simulating the pendulum movement. How do we know? So where are the clues that show us that this is real? In the pendulum variations, in the periods, the period of the pendulum changes all the time. Depending on the measurement of the of the time, and we use a computer tool to see frame by frame. Each frame is less than 1/10 of a second, so we calculate how long it takes for going from left to right and going back. So we measure the pendulum periods, and because of that, we know the length of the pendulum. So the length of the cord. Somebody called Phil Langdon made a demonstration of that. He put a small model, and he put a cord on the top of a tree, and he started moving it. Simulating. It's very similar. You look, it's exactly the same. It's very similar. But if you measure the pendulum period in his demonstration, it's always the same. It's 4 something seconds or something like that. Always the same. I did some simulation, I was in one of my YouTube videos, I was doing by myself. And I was moving and recording and checking the period. If you have the same length, it's the same period. Doesn't matter that you move it there, or here, or there. There was a scientist, a physician called Bruce McAvee. He did an investigation on that, and he read the conclusion it was fake. But he noticed that the period changed too. But he didn't provide a good explanation why it's changing. And the changes are very big. It's around 3.2 meters long. So in a pendulum that's 6 meters, 6 meters, probably something from here to the wall, it's changing 3 meters. Oh, so if you use it only to that, probably half of that. How can that fishing rod change that length so quickly? So the pendulum doesn't fit the pendulum measurements of the period of the pendulum doesn't fit the theory that this is a pendulum. So here you see we have a maximum error of 10 of a second in our measurement using the computer tool. It's too like a lower premiere that you measure frame by frame. So the maximum error could be 25 centimeters. So in this size, why 3 meters? It's very big, right? So the error is not a measurement error. It's done on purpose. So the Pleiadians did the demonstration, and they moved the chip in a way that looks like a pendulum, exactly like a pendulum. But they know that one day we'll be measuring the periods, and notice that this is not a real pendulum. How can we do it? So there's 2 ways to do it. One is as Phil Landon did it, just hanging a cord to a tree in the top, and with another cord just moving back and forth. But in this case, the period of the movement will be fixed, because the line, this length is fixed, it's not changing. And at the end, when he is moving in the spiral pendulum up there, because the length is reducing, the pendulum should be faster, should be moving faster. But what happened in the field is being reducing, is longer. So it looks like this point is moving up there too. In the fishing rod, I haven't found a fishing rod of 15 meters long. It's not possible, nobody can handle. And somebody with just one arm cannot do it. I was, in my test, the longest that I have was 4 meters, but 15 meters is completely impossible for me. And I cannot imagine Billy Meier just with one hand, just handling that. It's impossible. It's like this proportion is so long. How we know this is this length? By measuring the pendulum length, and the fact that it's at the end has to go up, so the top of the fishing rod has to be very high. In some cases it's very low, to reducing that. It's very hard to do. And there's some challenge about that, and the one that I like it more is this one. When it's moving in circles around the tree, in one case it lasts, or the length of the pendulum is 4.8 meters long in one circle. And the next one is 5.6, and then go back to 4.6. So it is like this length, then it is longer, and then it's reduced. How can you do it without the object or the UFO moving up and down? So it's a circle, perfect circle, but it's changing all the time in 3 consecutive cycles. I am not able to do it. I was imagining how to do it, and I built a model of how to do it, but it's so complicated, that probably the most logical explanation is that this is a UFO, an extraterrestrial spaceship simulating pendulum movement. But doing in reality is so complicated that it doesn't sound logical. Okay, this is a nice video that shows the right turn in detail and the moving tree. Right turn is coming here and it's coming to the front. It was very simple, just pull the fishing rod and move it. That cannot be done. I tried, it's very difficult to do right turn with that way. So people say, oh, there's another cord, and you pull it. Landon did it. He's used another cord and pull it. Okay, but the UFO is shaking. As soon as you pull it, it's shaking. Okay? I said it's not possible to do it. But another skeptic said, oh, it's very easy. He put a gyroscope inside this little toy. Gyroscope is something that is spinning, so gives some stability. But this is also not true, because as soon as you pull it, because you are inducing an external force, it starts to wobbling around, moving like the Earth during the precession of equinox. So that movement, so it's not possible. And also, I don't know if you have noticed, look at the top of the tree. Did you see that it's moving?
Yeah.
Again. Look, now the top of the tree. Oh, it's moving. The UFO is moving the top of the tree without touching it. If this is a little model, the turbulence caused by it cannot move any tree. A little tree, I tried with different trees, with different models, and I cannot move it. Maybe that UFO has some kind of electrical force that moves it, or probably it was just the dragging of the air that moved it. So it looks like a big object. There's something interesting anecdote about that, something that happened to Wendell Stevens. You know Wendell Stevens was an early UFO investigator of the Billy Meier case. He went to Switzerland and he took a copy of this film. He was not authorized yet to show it to somebody else. Billy told him, you cannot show it, take it for yourself, but don't show it. But Wendell Stevens arrived to his home in Tucson, and he called reporters from Denver magazine. So the reporters went to his home. It was in the fall of 1981. And he took his copy and he put it on his, in any room in his house, and he projected the film, and they saw it. Everything that we are seeing projected. So the reporters has their camera and they were filming what they saw on the screen. But the camera never worked. The battery was dead. The camera didn't show anything, like they couldn't record it. They went out for another piece of batteries and they put it back on the camera and they tried to record it and it never worked again. What is happening? You will find that interesting story in the UFO from the Pleiadians Supplementary Investigation Report, page 536. It's an interesting conversation or something that Wendell is telling us. And when they were doing that, tried to recording that never worked, and the reporters from Denver was a little bit scared. Oh, something wrong here. Why is not working? Our equipment is always working, but it's not working. Why we cannot record that one? Somebody called Wendell, and he went to the phone and said, hey, well, what's going on? No, somebody have seen a UFO flying above the place you are, in the city. Have you heard about that? Oh, no, I haven't. But there was a UFO flying above of that, probably interfering that demonstration. Why? Because we were not ready at this point of time, in 1981, to look that in more detail. Now we can. Otherwise, probably the lights will be off. The computer will not be working, but now we are seeing it. Probably we are authorized to see it. Okay? That's something very funny that happened to him. It's interesting to read it. Okay, we are going to see the jumps. The jumps happen when the UFO moves from the back to the front, or from the front to the back. With the image processing tool for the film that I use Pinnacle Studio. Somebody can use Adobe Premiere or any kind of tool like Final Cut. You can do it the same. So I put some stabilization, so I stabilize the image, and I put some slow motion on it. So you will see it. That's very interesting. Okay, so the UFO moves up and back to the up, front to the back to the front. And the first jump happened here. It's in a slow motion. Look how it moves. So it's getting close to the top of the tree and then jump behind the tree. You see something here? No. Okay, that's the first jump. The second jump happens when the UFO is coming from the back to the front. A couple of 3 seconds later, something like that. So here it's coming. Go to the front, go to the back, and then it's coming. Look at the top of the tree. Do you see something? The top of the tree expands. And it jumps.
that again.
Okay, let's do it again. Okay, that's the first jump. First jump is very close and then jump to the back of the tree in a 10 of a second. You see? Okay. And the second one, just look in detail the top of the tree. The second one is here. Also moving back and forth, goes to back. After that one. Now in a slow motion. You see it? The top of the tree expanded. Ah, quite strange. The Pleiadians took this tree, and disappeared. After that, they disappeared the tree. The tree is not there. They say that the tree was damaged because of that demonstration, and they were feeling very sorry about the tree. So what they did is quite strange. They somehow made the tree disappear and start living in some other place. How they do it, I have no idea. But they did it. But it also helps the worldwide UFO controversy, because somebody goes there and says, "Oh, there is no tree here. What are you talking about? Billy used a small little tree there." So it's helping the UFO controversy. Okay, the jumps. These are the frames of the jumps. In this case, one of the jumps. All individual frames. And because Billy Meier was recording with his camera at 24 frames per second, and the recording from the wall on the modern recordings at 30 frames per second, there is some kind of pattern that makes that every 5 frames there is one that is the same one, repeated. So this one is the same as this one. You see the piece of dust here, the piece of dust there, is the same frame. Also this one is the same frame. So it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the same as 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and at the same as 9, and 10. So we can put it away probably 9 and 4 and use the other ones. But you see, the white one that you saw in the video is here. The white one, just starting when the jump starts, there is a white one there, a white one here, here, and here. 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive frames. Why this is happening? Somebody said, no, Billy did a cut by the jump by cutting the film roll. So to simulate the jump, he cut it 4 frames or 5 frames, and they put it all together. Oh, of course, they went to do that. They put some kind of glue, and that glue damaged the film itself. So to create that thing. Okay, but why not? Okay, here you are from left to right, but actually from the top from the bottom is in this direction. But why there is not a bottom damage here, for example? If this is damaged in the bottom, logically this one is damaged in the top, but the other one should be damaged. So there is not a logical explanation why 4 consecutive frames has that white frame. My only explanation of that is that when the jumps happen, the windshield produces an electric shock, electric pulse, electrostatic pulse. That affected the camera and produced some electric lighting inside the camera. In the bottom part of the camera. The image is inverted, so that's the bottom part of the camera, and this is the top of the camera. And it happened when the ship jumps. In the movie, Contact from the Pleiadians, produced by Brett and Lee Elders, Billy Meier is explaining that when the UFOs do a jump, he feels an electric shock, some electricity in the body. So here is producing that electricity and it's affecting the camera. So you see the white band here because of that electricity. Looking in detail the jumps, jump 1, jump 2, and the simulation. Okay. So I simulated by putting some frames. So the chip is here and then it's here because I put it out some of the frames. So you see there is not a transition between it's in the left, now it's in the right, and continue to the right. But if you look at the jumps in the real film that are here and here, jump 1 and jump 2, there is a gradual transition. You see in the upper part, the UFO is completely visible. But here it starts to disappear and appearing in the front, and here it is completely materialized here. So if you look at that, it's like, if, for example, I am doing that kind of jump, I have the capability, so I'm going to jump from here in the space to here. What is happening, looking at those frames, is that I start the jump here, so I am 100% matter. But then I start to reduce my the level of matter in me, so I am only 80% of matter, but at the same time I am 20% of matter here, present here. Later on I am 50%, so I am here, at the same time I am here, 50%. So 50% of me is there, 50% of me is here. And at the end, 100% of me is here and nothing is there. So it's not a jump, immediate jump. It takes around 1/10 of a second. That jump takes that time. And it's not an immediate jump, but it's a smooth jump that they did it with the chips. These jumps are telling us that they have the capability to jump in space. That could explain why they can travel from very far away in just in a fraction of a time. They don't have to travel all the space, they just jump in the space. That's very interesting to see it. Okay, if you want more details about that for the Pendulum UFO, you can go to a detailed investigation that I did in that link. It is also available in Spanish, in English and in Spanish, or a YouTube video that has a full investigation of all of that, or you'll find it in my YouTube channel. You will find for Rhal Zahi videos, and you'll find it. Okay, any questions so far on the Pendulum UFO? So you see, they simulated that. Some people say, oh, why don't have it a big spaceship or a model of 7 meters and use a crane, at the crane so how moving it. Okay, it was not so fast. With a very long 100 meters length, it's gonna take probably 30 seconds to move from one place to another, not 5 seconds. So it's not possible to. Somebody has any question about that? So you start to see why they did it this way. So they show something that looks fake, but has some hidden clues for some people to look at in detail that they found it is true. So why the Pleiadians are doing that? Why they want us to believe that it's fake, and then if we look at it in detail, we know that it is true. Probably they are trying to tell us, don't trust anything you see. Just look at it yourself, do your own analysis, and you will find the truth. Don't trust anything that is said, okay? If you read anything, just be skeptical about what you are reading, and just have to put inside you, internalize that, and understand it from yourself. This is the Wedding Cake UFO. I've been working on that for 7 years, and recently Chris Locke is helping me with that, and we released this book. Some of you already know. This book was produced specifically for young people, because we have found that we cannot change some people. Probably we have to start with the younger generation. So this one is created for young students. It's constructed in a way that they can do scientific tests or some kind of proofs or tests, very simple ones, to know or get information about this type of ship. Is the research in a real UFO. You find them in Spanish, in English, in Amazon. If you want a German version, you have to contact the FIGU in Switzerland, FIGU.org, and there is a German version of that book that was translated by Christian Ferner. Okay? And has 11 experiments, so since knowing how the sphere deflection works, and well, many things about that. I'm not going to give you too much detail about that, probably it's too heavy here, but you can just look at it in detail. But basically, this UFO looks very funny. Even for Billy, it looks funny. Billy called it the cake UFO. A UFO that looks like a cake, looks like a wedding cake. So that's why I say the wedding cake UFO. And you say, what? The UFO is supposed to be a disc, not that thing. Okay, so why that funny appearance? Like this one. These are very nice photographs with little small details. So, for some people say that these are Christmas tree balls in the base of a trash can lid, with other things like the base of a pot plant, some supports of shell support, the one that you put in a little thing and put in it. Is shell support. Very common household items used. In another contact report in the 254, Bata explained a little more details about that. This flying device was developed or designed in the 1920s to be used on Earth environment. If you look at videos of Billy Meier UFOs, the one that looks like a disc, they're moving all the time. If you look at videos of the Wedding Cake UFO, especially one that is in a tree, is completely static. It's not moving. Why? Because it's designed for our environment. So probably all the spheres and all of that interact with our magnetic field in a way that is very stable. It's not moving up and down all the time. But in the 20s, they tried to send that information by telepathic impulse to German scientists in order to construct that type of spaceships that would help the development of the Earth. So trying to stimulate the imagination of those scientists. But they found at the time that those scientists were getting or shifting towards different purpose, so they tried to use it for wars as a military equipment. So immediately they stopped sending those impulses and they started sending false impulses to confuse those scientists, so they were not able to construct it anymore. That's the origin of the Wedding Cake UFO, is back from the 1920s. But for some reason, most of those items look like similar household items. It's helping the skeptic barrier. Well, let's look at in detail. These are detailed. You see a little blue lens here, red lens. Should be another lens here, but I don't know which color it is. Little crystals, one here, blue, green, red. Some little details like this one. This is a plate with an X mark that if this is a model, it has to be 2 millimeters wide. So it's so small. So if we did that, has to use a microscopic tools to do little details because it's so small. Very curious. It looks like the support of the shells, the one that you have on a. You put with your drill, you make a hole, you put a round piece there, and then the other part that goes there, and you support your shell. But it's a little bit different. Has a wider head. It's not exactly the same. The upper part is one. That's okay. The upper part of the upper platform is very similar to a pot plant base. The plant that puts in the bottom to receive the water, that excess of water, is very similar. There's one, but the one that is being shown as evidence that Meier did it with that is, has a different proportion of the width against the height. And this one has some stars, the other one has other stars, but this one has 5 rows of stars, but the plant base is only 4 rows of stars. So it's very similar, but it's not the same. Why? Because somebody constructed. It's not very clear to me if the Pleiadians did it on purpose. In the contact report, they seem to be surprised about that. They have found 25 items in the UFO that are very similar to known objects. I'm not sure if somebody just look at the photograph of Billy Meier, just try to build those items, or the Pleiadians did it on purpose. Reading the contact report, looks like the Pleiadians didn't do it, somebody else did it. But there's not clear explanation why, but they look very similar. Okay, so how do we know that this object is a little model that is close to the camera, or is a big object that is far away? The way to do it is like using the reflection of the spheres. I'm going to give you an example. Let's suppose that you have a frame, and you take a picture of the frame. How do you know if the frame is small and it's here, you got a picture, or it's a big one that is back there? You don't know. But if the frame has a mirror here, when you take a picture, you see your face in the mirror, right? You see your face, and your face is big. You say, oh, the mirror is close, because you're looking at the reflection. But if the mirror is in that wall, far away, you don't see your face, you see your whole body. So it's smaller. So it gives you an idea of if it's close or if it's far away. Using the same logic, we were looking the reflections of the sphere. I'm going to give you like this one. The reflection of the spheres that are very similar, show the reflection of the carrier's house where Billy was located when he was taking the pictures. I'm going to show you a map. This is the map of the Billy Meier property. This is the main house, Billy Meier. This is the carrier's house. Actually, it has some rooms there. And on the top, I think there is a meeting room where they made the peace meditation up there. And the UFO was here in the red area. This is another view from the hill that is there. From there is a wide view of the place a few years after the Wedding Cake UFO was photographed. So you see there are less trees here and here. This is a more recent picture. This is older one. And the UFO was in that area. We are making an estimation that it was moving in that area. This is the carrier's house. This is Billy Meier's house. And Billy was here, in that place. So Billy was close to the wall, below the ceiling, with his camera, waiting in the same place. He didn't move. Looking at the orientation in the different photographs, we know that he didn't move. He stayed in the same place, and we know that with an error of 30 centimeters, the location of the camera, no more than 30 centimeters error. And he was there taking the photograph of the flying chip in front of him. So that's the 11th photograph he took of that Wedding Cake UFO. Looking at the reflection, we know that if this is a model that is close to him, the reflection should be showing a big carrier's house reflection. This is a simulation with a computer. So the carrier's house should be much bigger. Christian Freire do some tests with some spheres there, and he does exactly the same. And when the sphere is at 1 meter distant, we see the carrier's house so big in the image that is not what the Billy Meier picture shows. It's not that size. And also, if you look at detail, there is a little brown figure here that might be Billy Meier taking the pictures. All the investigation that we are doing for many tests and in many ways, we have found that this Wedding Cake UFO flying in his backyard and front yard was around 3.5 meters. So it's the size of a small car. In that ship could hold one pilot. Could be 3 people there, very crowded. Just in case of emergency, it was 1 person inside that one. So it's 3.5 meters that one. Okay, let's continue. That one is an interesting one. It's a UFO in front of a tree. This is a Norway spruce, a very common tree in that area of Switzerland. This one shows 2 UFOs in the tree. That one, some skeptics say, oh, that's very simple. Billy pulled a bonsai, a little tree, with the model, and he took a picture from the distance. Another skeptics say, okay, that's also very clear. It's a false perspective. The model is very close and the tree is behind. Okay, so this one explanation for that, another explanation for that. But if you look at detail, it's the same tree at the same moment. Billy was walking over there. There are 5 photographs that you see the sequence, Billy getting closer, closer and closer. And you notice that the wedding cake cast a shadow on the tree, and here also. So it shows us that the tree and the wedding cake UFO are one close to another one. And you see more detailed image of that tree. You notice a real tree with real leaves. It's a Norway spruce, and the wedding cake UFO is very close to it. So you see some reflection, that reflections here from the tree. Clear reflection coming from the surrounding grass, the shadow on the branches. Some of the branches are receiving the sunlight, but others don't. So this is a wedding cake UFO that is very close to that tree. That tree is 7 meters tall, so that wedding cake UFO is also 3.5 meters. Later on, 2 hours later, Billy was walking. It is in this place. I found this place in Google Earth Maps. I found that tower and found more or less the location of this photograph. You see it behind some tree. It's not very clear image, but if you increase the contrast, you see that the wedding cake UFO is behind another tree similar to the other one, the Norway spruce. You notice the red crystals here, the wedding cake UFO there. Here you may wonder, how can Billy be walking on countryside in Switzerland taking pictures of the UFOs and nobody noticing? Because this one is 2 hours late. Should be a neighbor or somebody there just looking at, oh, what that guy is doing with that camera. Oh, there's a strange flying machine there. So why they didn't notice it? This spaceship has a clocking device, so they hide themselves from curious people. Billy Meier explained it in the Japanese documentary. He explained that they have some kind of sphere around, and they make a hole in that sphere, and that hole is pointing to his head of his camera, because he is the only one to see it. So we could be there, and nobody would see it. Only Billy Meier camera can see it. If he walked to another location, so that hole is moving all the way directing to his camera. So that's the way that he could be walking and taking picture of that UFO, walking in countryside without any people saying, oh, what is that? What is there? The Wedding Cake UFO at night, there are other pictures that it looks golden instead of silver. Some people said he sprayed it with golden painting or something like that, or because of the use of these different strange lights, has that color. So they say they put it on a table, probably in a black table, or put some kind of cover on that table that is black, and he took pictures with little models of cars and little trees, things like that. Okay, this photograph shows the Wedding Cake UFO at night. This is a tree that is not in good focus because the camera is taking a picture with low light, so the diaphragm is very open. So what we call the depth of, how you call that? Depth of field is very short, so can be only focus the Wedding Cake UFO, but not the tree that is closer than the car, or the car that is a little bit blurry. Here is a telemetric disc just moving while the picture took place. It's a small little device that they use. So it's here shining. Billy Meier was walking. In 2 minutes later, he was closer. This one could be one of the leaves of the trees, probably he's below the tree. Again, the same UFO and the Mercedes-Benz vehicle there. Looking at the size of the vehicle and the UFO, it looks to be a 7 meters Wedding Cake UFO. So now we have a bigger one. So there's in two sizes. That's a very interesting picture taken by Billy very early in the morning, 2:48 a.m. He was on board on another Wedding Cake UFO flying in the middle of nowhere in the Swiss countryside, and he took a picture of that. It's like the one on the table, and he took a picture of that. But recently we have discovered that increasing the contrast and the brightness, we discovered there is something below that UFO. First of all, there's a pink halo around it. We don't know what is this. There's a kind of footpath or road, a pole, probably a fence pole, that normally they measure 1 meter high. So comparing this size with that size, we know that this is a 7 meters Wedding Cake UFO. But there's something that you may notice. Not sure if you noticed this. Look at it there on the pole. You see something here? You see that shadow? Why that shadow is there? Another question is, why if the Wedding Cake UFO looks so bright, very bright, why the surrounding environment that is just below the UFO is not clear too? Why is it so dark? If this is made with a model, and if you look at the sphere, you notice there are two sources of light, one on the right and one on the left. Like he was taking a picture of the model, and he has a studio light here, another one here, one on the right and one on the left, taking a picture of that. If there are two lights, why there is only one shadow here? This is a mystery. The only explanation that we have, and it is also related to what Billy Meier said, really says this UFO is that color because it's emitting light. Instead of reflecting light from external source, it emits light, so kind of radiation. And we have found the reflection that is probably true because the reflection cannot explain external light. The only way to explain is that some internal light there. And probably that Wedding Cake UFO was using a clocking device, so it's not radiating any light to the ground, only to the camera, so Billy could take a picture, but here it's very dark because no light is going down there. So you could be walking here at that time and you may notice nothing. No UFO, no spaceship, nothing. Because they were using the clocking device. That's the only explanation of that. That single shadow cannot be explained by model theory, or it's very difficult to know or explain by the UFO. The only explanation is that it's using a clocking device. And what is lighting this is a very distant street light, little point that produces that single shadow. That's the only explanation. To tell you, I noticed that before in the first Wedding Cake UFO investigation report that I produced and released. I was going to publish this photograph. I didn't notice the pole that is here. You see the pole is here. This is a photograph of Wendell Stiegel album. It's been there for a long time, but we only noticed 3 years ago, 2 years ago. 30 years there and we didn't notice that, the pole. And we also didn't notice that red halo. I was going to put it in the investigation report on the Wedding Cake UFO, but James Dersdorf asked me not to do it because the evidence that I have about the Wedding Cake night was not very solid at that time. Right now it is. We have more clues, so we can put it more about the Wedding Cake UFO night. That lines, vertical lines, is related to the format of the image. It's a JPEG with low resolution that has that pattern of red vertical lines. But that red halo is also in the photograph. You can go any place in the internet, find a photograph, and do some image processing, and you will find the same halo and the same color. Or having that kind of image, doing that same thing with the image that are available right now in internet, and all photograph probability is the same. Okay, more information about Wedding Cake UFO, which is the last piece of evidence that I'm using here, but you can use all the pieces of information to demonstrate that duality between showing fake information and showing real information at the same time. You can find it in my detailed investigation. It's a 70-something pages report in Spanish and in English. Here is the address. You can download it and read it. It's a little bit technical. It has some calculation. You need to know a little bit about geometry, trigonometry, and things like that. But it's not very complex in reality. Or you can also find the book in the one that we published for young scientists with some tests that they can do, some experiments, like for example constructing a stereoscope to see images in 3D from the Wedding Cake UFO. That's very interesting because the Wedding Cake UFO, because it has a different sphere, each sphere is working like a single eye looking something. In the reflection you see something. And because there are different spheres, you can use two of them to produce a stereoscopic image. So you see in 3D the shadows of the trees. That's very interesting and one of the tests that we did. Also image processing and so on. Well, there's a lot of experiments on that. This is for young people very curious to working on that. Now the question is why this worldwide UFO controversy? By the way, this photograph with this tree, there are several photographs the UFO moving around the tree. This tree was also disappeared by the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians took it away. Why they do that? Because of the Wedding Cake UFO, because of the worldwide UFO controversy. So they did it on purpose. So my conclusion are the following. They do it because we have to be skeptical with an open mind. That's one of my conclusions. Why to be skeptical? Because we cannot trust everything that is in internet. Especially in internet, they show a conspiracy. Oh, it's a conspiracy, great, it should be real, let's see it. Oh, all the scientists on Earth are lying you. The Earth is flat, it's not round. They've been lying you for centuries, so you are living under the dome. You are controlled in that single space, and the sun is like a spotlight moving around you, illuminating, giving you heat, and then disappearing. The flat Earth, by the way, looks like a sociological, social experiment by an intelligence group. I imagine some people from an intelligence group saying, okay, let's imagine how can we convince the people of something that is totally absurd, but they think that is true. Let's imagine the worst conspiracy or more difficult to believe that could be available. What is something that everybody knows that is true now, that we can convince them that is not true? Oh, that the Earth is not flat. Everybody knows that the Earth is not flat. Okay, let's convince them that the Earth is flat. So they put in internet a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of demonstrations that show that the Earth is flat. And they should look at the statistics on the website, the YouTube videos, Facebook groups. They know what percentage of the population could be so, stupid to believe that. So that's the one way to know sociological how percentage of the population could be manipulated at this point of time. This is my personal interpretation of that one. Because it's totally crazy thinking that the Earth is flat. Well, I've been living in South America when I see the sun going down, is not moving around. I've been in South America where the sun, instead of moving in one direction, is moving in the other direction. That cannot be explained in a flat earth model. Totally absurd. Okay, so what they want with the worldwide UFO controversy is that they need us to think by ourselves. We have to start thinking that something that the mainstream media is showing us is not true. Something that some people are telling us for a long time is maybe it's not true. But we have also to be open-minded to see the truth. Because we'll be skeptical that we trust anything. That's the other extreme. We don't have to be totally skeptical that say no, anything of that is true. Or we have to be skeptical just to filter the information that we receive, investigate it, and understand it by ourselves. It's telling us that you are responsible for your own knowledge. In the past, we were eating what was available. Right now we have a big buffet of many different things and you pack what you need. You pick what you need and you eat what you need. So you have to be very selective on the information you are receiving. That's the shift of the society that is happening right now. We have to be skeptical and we have to be open-minded. So we have to understand that maybe there are a lot of lies there, but we cannot believe that everything is a lie. So we have to use our own internal judgment. So you don't have to trust on skeptics. You don't have to trust on UFO investigators. Don't trust me. And my investigation, I am not saying you have to trust me because I said so. I put in information for you to do your own investigation, do your own testing, and reach your own conclusion. I am just saying something that I have found. Probably you found something different. Go ahead and investigate it and find something different. So this is the shift of society that we have to think and be responsible for our own development. Also, the worldwide UFO controversy is required because it's allowed people that are not ready to accept a new reality to have an exit door. Some people do not understand why it is wrong. They have some religious ideas. You find on the internet, I have been receiving notes from some people saying, oh, are demons, are devils, and they try to convince humanity on different things. Don't pay attention to that. The Lord is the only one that is true. Things like that. Or some people say, no, the earth is flat, there is not extraterrestrial planets, all of that is not real. Other people say, okay, there's ET, extraterrestrial life. UFOs are correct, yeah, the Roswell case and others are correct. All the ETs are the little one, the grace one, and what Billy Meier said is not true. So there's a lot of different flavors of skepticism. So that one is constructed for the people that are not ready to have an exit door. Why? Because the people's psyche would be severely affected. I told you that once in a while some people call me because somebody saw a UFO and they want some explanation from my side. I have an experience in my country, in Colombia, in the northern part of Colombia. I was working in a company in that part of Colombia, in the north part, in an area that is very close to a desert. There was a lieutenant of the police that was very confused. He was not sleeping very well. He was somehow getting crazy, feeling very bad, and probably disconnecting from reality. And somebody told me he saw a UFO the other night, and he don't understand that. Why don't you go and talk with him? So I went and talked with him and explained him that it was very common in that area. He was not the only one to saw a UFO. There was also a kid from the school that saw them flying on the sky, so that what they saw was very clear. So his psyche was affected, but as soon as he understood that was very common, he was started calm down, knowing that he was not getting crazy. What we saw was real, understanding why they are here. I explained him so many things that I already know, things that I've been explaining here. And he was feeling very well. After that, he could sleep very well, and he was feeling relief. He told me, oh, you are like a priest that I knew some time ago that helped me just understand many things. Okay. this topic could make some people get crazy. Right now, people in the air somehow is crazy, but there will be more people getting crazy. So that was really that way. Right now, it's not that complicated because we know there are all planets in our system. So we will find out that there are light from Mars, microscopic light. They're all interested in discovery, like the Nazca mummies, if you have seen them. That's something that is opening our mind to a new reality. Billy Meier UFO case, or Billy Meier case, is opening also our mind to another reality. So this is a transformation that is happening. In the past, there was only one small UFO. Right now, you see, for example, in Mexico City, a demonstration with 100 bright objects flying in the sky. What? Why is happening that? Are these UFOs or what is this? So something is happening, they will be more common and more common. So this is a transition of our transformation. It was planned as a part of a transition. We're supposed to go to a jungle and you find there are some primitive people living in that jungle. You cannot go there and impact their culture immediately. You have to first probably dress like them, like one of them, walking among them, and start teaching them something to allow that culture to adapt to know that there's somebody else living out there. So that's what the ATs are doing with us. So it has a good purpose. The purpose of that barrier is that it allows us to have a very soft transition. So that skeptic barrier will be destroyed in the future. We will be seeing that it's falling down. Right now it's started falling down because of that evidence that's showing that Billy Meier case is real. But we will see in the future that we can see our world. So we are moving from the present to the future. By looking at Billy Meier case and all the information they have on the spiritual teachings and showing what could happen with if we do know something different, we don't do something different, it's telling us that we have to do something by ourselves. The main message in Billy Meier case is we have to have our own responsibility. Don't trust what everybody is given to you information or somebody else tell you. In the future, there will be no gurus, no masters, no leaders. Everyone should be his own leader because we will have a direct connection with the creation. So we will know what is true and what it is not. In the future, we feel that connection that are between human beings. We are all connected. All that I do is affecting you. All that you is doing is affecting me. If we know that connection, we cannot harm anybody else. So there will be no wars in the future. There will be no wars because I cannot damage one part of myself. If, for example, my right hand is very angry about my left hand because the other day I was putting a nail on the wall and hit it with a hammer. So that hand is very upset about that hand and started pushing the other one. So one part of myself is hitting myself. That sounds crazy, right? But this is what is happening in the humanity. One part of the humanity is damaging another part of the humanity. So we have to go in a conscious level that we understand that connection between human beings. Right now we feel some isolation. We feel that I am isolated, that I am individual human being. We don't feel that connection. In the future world, we will feel in that connection, but right now we don't. So that sense of solitude gives us to gather everything. Oh, this is my wife, these are my sons, this is my house, this is my car, this is my country, this is my planet. So that's part of that solitude that we feel. If we are connecting with everything, everybody will be my brother, my sister. I cannot understand why my brother is on the street. I will be helping him. Doesn't matter that I have to solve his problem, but I will help him just to solve it by himself. So in the new world, we're going to have some responsibility. It's going to be a planet that will be not as crowded as the one that we have right now. At this point, we have overpopulation that is destroying the planet Earth. So in the future, we're going to handle in a more responsible way. I don't believe the world is going to end, but I think if we don't do anything smart, what is going to happen is going to look like the end of the world. All the catastrophes that are going to happen if we don't do anything. And the only way to start to doing that is starting with ourselves, doing an inner transformation. All that the ETs, the UFOs show us, while we are looking up there to start, is that we have to look it inside here. So one way to look up there and say, oh, there's light up there. It's just an invitation to look inside yourself and feel that connection between you and the creation. That's the purpose of all of that. What is more important is the transformation that you do in yourself. Okay? And if any one of us transform ourselves, we are creating a transformation in the world. That's something that is going to happen. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone have the energy to make some questions? Ask something? Okay.
You said you knew about 4 cases with extraterrestrials, Billy Meier, and then what about the other 3?
Okay. 4 cases. One of them is somebody that Billy Meier thinks is not a real contactee. It's Sixto Paz. Sixto Paz is a Peruvian guy that was living in Lima and in a place called, in a desert very close to Lima, he witnesses some UFOs. And he says he has been talking with those ET humans. I know him because he was in my house. I invite him. But actually, the place where I live in invite him, and I say, okay, he can stay in my home. I was talking with him face to face. That's one of them. Billy Meier says that this is not a real contactee, that is totally absurd, that there is life in Ganymedes, one of the moons of Jupiter. And that's true. There is no life in Ganymedes. There is a space station. Sixto Paz says that. Sixto Paz is a case that showed that he has some religious background, so he has some interpretation based on his own knowledge. And that's okay. I see, okay, he makes some religious interpretation of the UFOs because he's what he has done. But to me, this is a real case. Another case is somebody called Luis Roberto Rodriguez, who was a countryman in Colombia that was taking care of cows, milking them, extracting the milk. He was a very poor guy. I mean, very poor means that he didn't have the wealthness of most of the people. He lived in a poor house with a family, just working on the countryside. One day he started hearing some voices saying, prepare for something important that is going to happen to you. And he was really scared about that. Some of his friends, oh, that's the devil, you have to go away from here. Something bad is going to happen. He was taking a work in a spaceship, and he was dealing with human beings from the stars that are different from the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians has beard, like me, but I'm not a Pleiadian, you know. But that one has a long hair going to the shoulder. They have a pink halo around, a violet halo, and a clear face, a bit different than the Pleiadian. And the other case, the fourth one, is somebody called James Thompson. He's somebody in the United States, and he just had one single contact with them. He was driving with his car, with his girlfriend, just for some reason he went out of the road, and he ended up below a spaceship and a small, beautiful lady. He said that is the most beautiful lady that I have seen, was a white one, who was talking with him. And he was using some kind of technology, projecting his body in 3D close to him. And with that technology, he saw an image of himself in a hologram, and in that image he was putting out the muscles, the bones, and he was examining his body with a very high-tech device. Instead of that crazy story that the ETs just capture the people and cook them and do things, medical examination, they don't have to do that. They have the technology just to scan yourself without touching. And that they did it for make him feel comfortable, the lady, the ET lady, projected herself there. So she said, oh, I'm here. But she was making comparison between her body and the body of James Thompson. To me, this is a real case. Happened just once, or to me, it's a honest person. I've been working in coaching. I am a coach. So for me, it's very easy to look at the body language, the tone of the voice, and I understand something else in the conversation. So I can easily find somebody's lying to me because of the body language, okay? The way they do, the way they move their hands, or whatever. So to me, that he's saying the truth. 62 Pass is saying the truth. Luis Rourke is saying the truth, and Billy Meier is saying the truth. There are 4 contactees that are real. Okay? Any other question?
Okay, so if Pata said that they were flying the ships on purpose, like a pendulum, right? Doesn't that make you distrust almost everything that assuming they're real, and assuming that they're real and they play tricks, right? To manipulate us now to have this controversy.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you question other things that they do?
Yeah.
Or is that the whole point?
Yeah. Yeah. They did it, I didn't know that. But I also know that somebody was looking at in detail and finding hiding clues show that this is real. You see the videos. Actually, the video is no longer available. You are going to ask the video to Billy. He said this he doesn't have it. Somebody very close to him, I'm not gonna say who, said it to a German person. He doesn't have it. All what we have is all recordings from the video itself. One doing by the Japanese team that they recorded in a projection on the screen, and another one that has been saying that is gathering in different places. So we know the video is not manipulated because we have different sources. And the one from the Japanese has something interesting that they put a time counter, so the speed of the film is not manipulated. Like you say, oh, it's moving slowly in one part or moving faster in another part, just to simulate the changes on the pendulum movement. No, it's a real one. So, okay, yes, the information is put in there in a way that they distort everything that they are doing. But they did it on purpose. They didn't want us to trust on them. What they want to do is just create a worldwide UFO controversy. They are not doing they didn't do the demonstration to say, oh, they exist. No. They put it in that way to say you have to think by yourself. You have to find the clues by yourself. If you want to find the truth, you have to be careful to look behind what is obvious. And this is a teaching that they are giving to us. Okay?